Hey, precious people. Ragamuffin Bro here. My real name is not important. I wish my mother hadn't named me that. Anyways, there's a reason why I chose Ragamuffin Bro as a pseudo title, if you want to know. You see, ever since I've been born again, I've been around a lot of church people. You know, some good, some bad, and some just ornery as all get out, like myself. But more than not, many people that are in churches and religious circles, preachers and every other kind of creature, will many times put on a great facade, masquerading as a squeaky clean, prim and proper, almost perfect Christian, or image thereof. And I'm sure that some of it is due to Jesus rubbing off on them. I mean, Jesus does make us better as we go along here. But other times, I get with these guys, I hobnob with them, and I sense a lot of maybe pretension, religiosity, maybe a smidge of hypocrisy. We all can fall into it. But I don't ever want to come across as being this squeaky, clean, perfect saint. I think it's just plastic and synthetic, sanctimonious primping, right? It's not authentic or genuine. Not saying that we should display fleshly or weak behaviors for the sake of humility. But we need to always be honest to admit that we are in fact human beings and relatable with our weaknesses, our struggles, even our sins and failures. Because the truth is, this old boy here, he's just a scruffy, bearded ragamuffin. Bro. Trying very hard to keep my head above water in the raging sea of life in this fallen world. So I was watching the new show on Prime called House of David with my son Josh, and we really enjoyed it, even though some of it is not biblically accurate, and of course Hollywood puts their interpretive spin on things. But it stirred my soul and inspired me to write the song Giants Fall. Now, I hope you enjoyed it. Now, anyone who knows my testimony also knows that I have had a lot of giants in my life. Before I was even born, there was a contract on my life as my mother attempted to abort me. But I hung on for dear life, and I have the scars to prove it, see? Now, it can't be certain that my hands were deformed because of that attempt. But I came into this world with greater physical, psychological, and social challenges than most people do. And yes, I've been called crazy, and I readily admit that I'm not all there, you see? I've also told people that I have an excuse for my failures. You see, I was born short-handed. I also have said from the beginning, I was dealt some bad hands. Okay, I'll stop. But the truth is, besides the incredible dysfunctional childhood trauma that I endured from physical and emotional abuse, and the great social awkwardness that all my life I experienced, people looking at me as some sort of freak of nature, maybe, and with my physical limitations. But the greatest giants that I've ever had to face are the giants within myself, in my flawed and fallen nature. Not to put a plug in for my book, but if you ever want to read my testimony, it's in a book called Echoes of the Raging Sea that you can find on Amazon Prime, along with some other great and glorious books that I've written. But Jesus, he said, in this world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. You know what he was saying? He was basically saying, in this world, you're gonna have giants. Giants who will want to kill you, chop you up, and eat you for dinner. For some of us, it's physical giants that we face. For some of us, it's mental or emotional giants. Giants of regret or failure or shame. It could be financial giants, giants from suffering and loss of a loved one, But we all have giants that we must face in this life. Now, it's said that young David faced Goliath without the king's armor. But the truth is, he did have on the king's armor, just not the earthly king's. See, he had King Jesus' armor. We can't face our giants alone. If we try, we will fail miserably. However, be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. This is King Jesus saying, let me be your armor. Young David knew that the battle belongs to the Lord. He did not put his trust in his slingshot or the small stone, but in the big God that he knew was able to deliver him. Our faith is not determined by how much we strive and struggle to believe in God, but just by our total surrender and trust in God, to not face the giants alone, but to know that God is with us. And the devil, he likes to get people embittered against God when he sends them, some tribulation or a lion or a bear that they have to overcome. And they say to themselves, why did you, God, or to God even, why did you send me this pain? Why did I have to go through this challenging moment? I don't deserve this. Why do I suffer so much? It's because God, he has a giant for us to face so that, and he uses these calamities, these challenges in our world to get us ready, to get us stronger and more prepared to face even greater giants. Now, none of us want greater giants, but right? Right. But, if you think about it, heroes and legends are never about people who live their whole lives in a bubble of comfort and convenience. But these are people who have overcome the greatest obstacles and challenges in life, who have faced giants with one small stone and with one big God. In the end, there are two types of people who die in this fallen world. Those whose suffering and struggles have made them bitter, and those whose suffering and struggles have made them better. Sometimes our giants, they'll start out small, insignificant dwarfs, really. Sure, God could turn our digested Twinkie into a vitamin-enriched protein bar, but I wouldn't swallow that idea hook, line, and sinker. The dwarf of not eating healthy can turn into a giant of disease and suffering later. You see, it's the little sins that turn into big ones. It's the small foxes that spoil the vine. It starts out with a thought, and then we end up acting on it, unfortunately. And that gets us in trouble. Sometimes the best way to slay a giant is to never let it grow into one. Okay? Even so, giants will still come mocking at your door. And I mean mocking at your door. I pray that you will have such an intimate and personal walk with God, in friendship with God, that you will trust Him to get you through all the dark times that are going to face you, and all the times that you must face your own Goliath, which he will come. He will come mocking. But you can't do it alone. You can't do it with your own worldly wisdom or your trust in physical or financial, slingshots or in psychobabble. All that is just an earthly king's armor that will weigh you down even more. We must put on the spiritual armor that comes from King Jesus, who rose from the dead and conquered all things. You see, in this world, you will face giants, but be of good cheer. Jesus has overcome them already, and He will overcome them with you. You see, all those who call upon His name shall be saved from all their giants, guaranteed. Even if we have to die to be saved from them, okay? Because He swallowed up death forever. All right. God be with you. Ragamuffin Bro.